Hey, hi. You're listening to Infamous Chronicles. Yeah. It's my dad and his 3 friends. Just kidding. Love you, Dad.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Infamous Chronicles. As always, our episode is brought to you by Audible. If you want a free 30-day trial, compliments of the show, and a copy of any audiobook of your choice, head to audibletrials.com/TIC, which if you're stupid, that stands for the Infamous Chronicles. So audibletrials.com/TIC. Enjoy a 30-day trial on the show and a complimentary book. A couple notes. Don't forget that in 2 days from today, you will hear the world premiere of our sister show, Her Chronicles, which will be available immediately on our Infamous Works Spreaker account and will trickle into iTunes and Google Play as soon as possible. But we are super excited about that show. And then we have the still unnamed OG show premiering Friday. All of our shows air at midnight the day of. And you can still hear this show, obviously, and Discussing Depression on Wednesday night. So that's 4 shows we're bringing you this year. So Tuesday nights is Infamous Chronicles. Wednesday is Discussing Depression. Thursday is Her Chronicles. And Friday is the yet untitled show. So we're really excited about that. We also have a couple roster additions for the new year. The first one, he has been a guest on our show a couple times in the past during our political series. But we are proud to announce Todd as a rotating guest or a rotating team member on the show. Todd?
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. The rest of your roster tonight is going to be Jester.
Yeah, hey.
And Mrs. Michelle Stevenson.
What's up, everybody?
Congratulations on your new show.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I've been talking about it with my coworkers. I've been talking about it with my friends. I've been Facebooking, Instagram, tweeting, all that stuff. And our account soon, or our podcast soon, will have all its feeds, so it'll be readily available for everybody. And we're also going to be promoting it at Sudamericana, which is the Latin thing I do once every 3 weeks. So, yeah.
Nice. And we got a logo in the works by Jester over here.
Very excited about it, by the way. It's the most... I saw already...
It's gonna look nice.
Dude, I already saw a rough draft, and I'm like, it's all what the show represents, so I'm very excited.
And then... the girls picked a badass intro-outro song, which we plugged into the first time today. So we got our first fully edited episode, which you guys are going to hear on Thursday. So we're all really excited about that. Support our Misha here.
What was the song? Me So Horny?
No.
It was Pussy Riot.
It was Pussy Riot, of course.
It had to be.
It had to be Pussy Riot because that's how I feel all the time. It should have been, I was really debating that or... oh God, it's this one rapper from the Bay, and she has one line where she says, "I'm pumping swag out of my ovaries," and I'm like, I was gonna do that, but nah, it's all.
But then you can't just plug like one line as an intro.
I know, but it was just such a good line, though.
Yeah,
I got the swag, and it's pumping out my ovaries.
So, I mean, that is a pretty swag line.
Thank you.
So we're here in 2017. You guys are listening to episode 77. We're just shy of 25 episodes left until we hit 100 freaking episodes, and today is actually the day. It is the 4-year anniversary of the Infamous Chronicles podcast. So we've taken a couple hiatuses in there. That's why we're only at 76 episodes. And for those of you that weren't fans of the old show, we actually lost 15 episodes in the transition from one server to the other. So we're really on episode like 86, but you live and you learn. So this week we added Todd to the roster. Next week we have another surprise coming back to the show who should have been here tonight. So you guys saw it all on our social media. But that is fan favorite from season 2, Firefox, is going to be taking the place of, isn't the right word, but as Michelle transitions out to her solo project, she will transition back in as the strong female voice on our show and also share mic time on Michelle's show as well.
Yes.
So we're all really excited about that. So... something happened over our weekend. So tonight's topics that we're going to be discussing is the impact of social media on the justice system currently that we see, and the way that we receive and read our news. But first, let's talk about over the weekend, there was a shooting at Fort Lauderdale Airport, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. 5 confirmed dead, multiple wounded. Let's start with you, Jesser. Let me get your thoughts on this, and how do you think it'll impact travel and TSA moving forward, if at all?
Well, 9/11 changed TSA forever. I mean, if you haven't walked through that stupid scanner at the airport lately, I mean, what a fucking joke that is, you know? I just don't think it's not going to end, because I think that these people, I call them assassins, right? They just want overnight fame before they think their life is done. You know, like either going to be jailed for life or death. You know, I'm going to do something with a big bang before I go out. Let me just go out and do a mass shooting, and I'll just have, you know, the entire internet cover it and go viral the day of. You know, I'll be famous. I don't know if that's the mentality behind it, the intent or whatever, but I just think it's a joke. I mean, look at how many mass shootings have happened in the last 2 years. I mean, it's ridiculous, the numbers.
But has the mass shooting number increased, or has our exposure to it increased?
I think the mass shootings have increased because the internet's been around since '94. I mean, we would have heard a lot more about them. You know, Yahoo News has been around since the inception of the internet. Mm-hmm. We would have heard a lot more about mass shootings if they were happening more frequently. But in the last 2 years, it's been ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know?
Todd, what do you think about this so far?
Well, I think, you know, based upon what you were just saying, I think it maybe goes hand in hand with the easiness of the information, so it's being spread more of the mass shooting, so that may increase the mental thoughts of some of the people. Be like, oh, I can do that, you know. Mm-hmm. I don't know why anybody would want to do that, but that may go hand in hand. I don't know much about the story. I just know that it happened. I didn't really read into it, but
sorry, my computer just decided to play a beautiful symphony for your background music.
You know,
my apologies.
That's what I get. That's what happens when I get on the
studio
show. All right, here you go.
For you.
But I don't know. I don't know much about the guy or the people that they shot or the reasons behind it, where he came from, how he got it on there. You know, just based on you were just saying, got it through the baggage, checked it in, or something like that. I don't know why any airline in the entire world would let anybody on a plane with a loaded mag clip that could be loaded into a gun. It's one thing to take a gun, but you take the bullets with you. That's what's going to kill people.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely.
So, if anything, the gun wasn't the problem. It was the fact that they let them have ammunition in the gun.
Right.
You know, but
he had to have snuck. Sorry to interrupt you, Tom, but he had to have snuck it in there. They don't just let you take a weapon through customs.
Dude, have you seen the
security and all that?
Have you seen the imaging that could be seen in the luggage? It's pretty,
yeah.
Especially some like metal like that. Like it's easily seen. I don't think it's snuck through. There's no way.
Well,
TSA is really diligent. If they're making you take off your shoes,
right.
I'm pretty sure they saw it.
Well, here's a couple facts of it. So the guy is a 26-year-old U.S. Army veteran that flew to Florida from Anchorage, Alaska, and he had a layover in Canada where he had to transfer planes. And so what he did is he checked the gun as a checked bag. He didn't walk through TSA with it. And then at Fort Lauderdale Airport, while he was at the baggage check picking up his bag, he removed the weapon, a semi-automatic 9mm, loaded it, opened fire, 5 people dead.
Yeah, and
but don't they check the bags that are being checked? You're telling me that they just put any bag on a plane? They don't check what's in your bag, what's going on?
Well, part of that, though, is that although TSA is a federally regulated company or organization, for lack of a better word, states all have their own legislation when it comes to what can and cannot go on. Like, for example, in Texas, you can bring a gun on the plane, but in California, you couldn't.
They do have security monitoring once it goes through those black flaps, like when it's on the belt and you don't see it anymore. There is security on those baggages. They have the same, X-ray vision type scanning that goes. I mean, they're not just going to say, oh yeah, here's your bag. Well, it could be a bomb in it, right? Like they do detect it there before it gets on the plane. But he shot people in the terminal, so it wasn't in the bag that went down the, the escalator or whatever it was.
But he must have been pretty smart to know that all these things would happen.
Right, but it's
in order to get that gun into where he wanted it to be.
But you or me can show up at LAX right now, get dropped off at the white curb, walk through Terminal 3 with a loaded pistol, and we're in the terminal.
Okay, so
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Here's a little further explanation on it. So he had a connection in Minneapolis, not in Canada, when he landed, he picked up his bag, went into the restroom where he then loaded the gun. So the gun did not travel loaded.
That makes sense.
So perhaps that was how he got away with it, is that he kept the ammo locked in a separate container, kept the gun locked in a separate container, flew them together in a check bag, and then unloaded them, opened fire.
Could I say something really quick? And I know I'm going to upset our listeners by saying this, but I honestly do believe wholeheartedly that not only do we have a gun control problem in this country, but we have a mental health issue that is not being addressed properly. The guy was listening to voices way before the shooting happened, and nobody gave a fuck to report it. And that is a big problem. Lack of mandatory reporting, mental health issues, and we need more gun control. The gun show loophole needs to close. You should not have people with a mental ill background buying guns. I'm sorry. There's no way. Who's to say that people fucking get sad. I'm sorry. I personally wouldn't own a gun at all. I don't trust myself with it because I know how sad I can get. A lot of people need to acknowledge what their limitations are, and I think that's also a huge issue.
Well, part of it, too, is he actually contacted the FBI in November and reported that voices in his head were telling him to support the Islamic State, and the FBI sent him a referral to go seek mental health. The guy turned himself in, and he was like, all right. He basically got Kaiser Permanente. They were like, okay, go to this building.
Well,
see.
I mean...
But it's not even that. Every county has countless mental health referrals. I cannot tell you the amount of patients I see that I always seek a referral for mental health. And then county takes them in, and until the patient willingly takes the medications responsibly and goes to therapy once, twice, 3 times a week, however the psychiatrist may see, it really is solely up to the patient, and people fail to see that. And that's the problem. I really do believe if we have that bad of a mental health issue, we shouldn't have guns. We should not be allowed. Ever since Sandy Hook, I'm sorry, I don't trust Americans with guns anymore. I don't.
I disagree with that. As a gun owner myself, I look at it as I went through all the proper channels, legal inspections to rightfully own and protect myself with it. But I do agree with you, though, that we're an over-medicated, under-prescribed country. And as a result, no other country in the world has the prescription issues that we do and the mental health lack of support that we do. And therefore, no other first world country has the gun, quote unquote, gun problems that we do. But again, we don't have gun problems. We have people problems.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, whether with the gun thing, and that goes with anything, drugs, guns, prescriptions, it doesn't matter what control you put on it or what laws you put on it. If you want one, you're going to get one. Period. It's with anything. And then, obviously the mental part of it, I agree with you. There should be maybe more education on it, or maybe more stricter background checks on people. But didn't you say the guy was like an Army vet? So he was trained. He got his.
That's the other argument.
Stuff, legitly, he knew how to use it. He's very, very well trained on it.
Right.
But the issue with this particular problem is the fact that he turned himself into the FBI and they laughed at it like it was a joke.
Yeah.
But aren't these people supposed to be taking these things seriously?
Exactly. And not all the training in the world in the military for him did him any good either. And he still became sick. And that's what I'm saying, is that the human brain, especially with the frontal cortex and how complicated it is, you don't know when you can snap. I don't care how educated you are or how trained or how much you believe in yourself that you're not able to do something. I still believe that you are capable. And that's why,
yeah, but if you want to kill somebody or you want to kill yourself, a gun isn't your only catalyst.
Yeah, but
like you said, once you snap, if I snapped right now and Jester was sitting this close to me, I could strangle him with his headphones wires. I don't need a gun to kill him.
Exactly. But at the same time, you wouldn't have as much of a mass shooting problem like Sandy Hook, like countless others that have happened in the past 5 years.
Right. If
you took out the gun problem, you wouldn't see all the sadness that's going on if you were to take that away.
So do you think if you took away the guns, it would
look at Australia?
There would be no gun
look
problem?
At the UK.
Would it then now
have
be
they had any mass shootings since?
Or a strangling problem? Or
but again, you wouldn't have the mass shootings. That's the point I'm getting at. Until people are victims of those shootings and actually have a life taken away, like a family member, they're not going to understand the devastation that one goes through. And I honestly believe that's the only way to get rid of a mass shooting problem. I'm not saying one in particular. I'm saying mass shooting. You're not going to take away crime by taking away guns. I'm not saying that at all. But you are going to take away the masses.
I have to agree 100%. And also,